Fantasy Friends.
Alright, so back again this week, and in traditional Fantasy Friends style, we are late. But also, in non-traditional Fantasy Friends style, we are a single friend this week. Yep, that's right, call me Jason Derillo, because I am riding solo for this week's Devon podcast. But that doesn't really matter, because it's still going to be great. That's that Fantasy Friends content you get. Late, but great. Alright, and in this week, you know how the election's coming up, and in the election, there's always those swing states. Those states like Florida, Ohio, not New Jersey, because New Jersey doesn't matter, but those states are the ones that really determine the course of the election. If a candidate's going to succeed or not really depends on how that state does. And in our fantasy teams, we're going to talk about the swing players. Not quite the same as a swing state, but for those players, if you really look at our rosters, there's probably a player or two where really they have a wide range of outcomes, and the way that they perform kind of for the rest of the season is going to affect, be the swing that determines whether we succeed or not. And that's going to be the swing players we're going to talk about this week along with these week's power rankings. All right, so this might be a pretty short one, but let's get into it. With the tie for 11th on the power rankings, we have Jacked Off and Mixin THC, CEH and THC. I think that's second week in a row. And let's start out with Mr. Sam Fontaine's team, mixing CEH and THC. All right. So really, the main swing state actually is not, even though it's very easy to take, those Kansas City running backs are a top button issue. I'm going to say that the swing player for this team is actually going to be Deebo Samuel. Deebo is a very explosive player. He was trending very well at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, but had an injury at the beginning of the season that kind of set him back. And since then, he definitely has been a bit swingy. Came to a big play against the Rams, kind of really gave him a good game. But apart from that, he's kind of taken a bit to kind of get back on after recovering from the injury. And I think that he has a lot of potential being a number one receiver in a pretty decent offense, but he's got to actually make that swing, going from kind of a little underperforming to actually kind of reaching his potential, and I think that potential would be really great for Sam's team, and if he can hit that swing player, he'll be probably pretty good for the rest of the year. All right, now let's go to Jacked Off, and his swing player is one I kind of said Fulgham was better than, but he did pretty well this week, and that's Chase Claypool. We all have kind of seen Chase Claypool has had really good past 2 weeks, but Deontay Johnson's coming back, and we'll see kind of how his target share works out. James Washington also did almost just as well as him last week, so let's just see if he can kind of keep up this production with either limited targets or maybe work his way into a larger share of the targets. I think that if Chase Claypool can maintain being a top receiver, that makes Jack's receiving course insanely deadly, and one that you're going to really not want to play each week. So let's see if that swing player really works out. All right, now, at number 9, we have two players tied as well. We have Team Obi-Wan Mahomey with Abby, and Team Build the Waller with Samuel Nathan. All right, and let's get into first looking at Obi-Wan Mahomey. And for Obi-Wan Mahomey, I think that the swing state, the swing player, really for her, has got to be Devin Singletary. Listen, we all kind of, even since the beginning of the year, in our first podcast, if you remember, we said that her weakest point was definitely her running backs. Her team was really strong aside from her running backs. And I'd say that a lot of the lack of success that Abby's had is actually due to terrible matchups, mostly. But apart from terrible matchups, really it's due to Devin Singletary really not performing too well, I think, in the recent weeks. And I really think that he's going to have to kind of step it up and be kind of a player that is a much more reliable start going forward if she wants to swing the rest of the season in her favor. So that's a key swing player for her. And then when you look at Sam's team, the swing player is Stephon Diggs. Oh, wait, no, he's not on Sam's team anymore, so I guess I got to find a new one. Julio. Wait, no. Traded him too. Oh. What players are on Sam's team? Okay, so I guess that one of the remaining ones, actually one he got from the Julio trade, is going to be his swing player, and that is Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy was one of the top drafted rookie wide receivers on the year. And apparently Sam has a lot of faith in him because he gave up Julio Jones. And Judy really is a swing player because he's got to really fill the hole that Sam has made in his roster by trading all of his good wide receivers. And if Judy can somehow fill this hole, then maybe we've been all wrong about maybe Sam making some moves to trade his players, and Sam can kind of show us exactly why he made that trade. And I think that if Judy kind of plays to being a top player and the Denver offense turns it around, his team is still definitely a really dangerous team, and he's definitely could compete for at least a good playoff spot over the rest of the season. Okay, and the other team at 7, who was that 12? Well, maybe not 12, but 11 a couple of weeks ago, and has really turned it around since coming under new management. Is you know and love them. It's the 1972 Dolphins, and living up to their name so far. 2-0 since Ted has taken over, and they are looking nice. And I think that the swing player really on this team is pretty easy. It is Ronald Jones. This dude has been cooking the past 2 weeks, past 3 weeks actually. Excuse me. And you already remember from last week Jake's hot take that he was going to rush for 100 yards in these next 2 matchups, and I still think he definitely is going to perform in this next matchup. But he's had some very good scheduling these last 2 weeks, and also with Leonard Fournette coming back, it's really about how he can hold down this job as he goes forward. He's got actually very decent schedule going into the future as well. So if he can still stay kind of performing at this high caliber, I mean, we've already seen Ted's team has won the last 2 weeks with Ronald Jones doing this well, and I don't see that stopping if he can kind of keep this up. All right, and then at number 6, we have my competitor this week. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Also, making a lot of name changes, but some pretty great names right now. Too many cooks in Hill's kitchen. My bad. But I love the double pun. That is a really strong play right there. Really big move. And when it comes to his players, I think that the swing player has got to be Amari Cooper. Okay, really honestly, this swing doesn't depend too much on Amari himself. We all know Amari is a pretty good wide receiver. In my opinion, slightly overrated, but still very good. Really, the swing is dependent on can Andy Dalton perform. And Andy Dalton clearly he actually Amari did still fine with Andy due to garbage time, but I think in a normal game script, that game might not have went quite as well for Amari Cooper with the way Andy was playing. But if Andy can turn it around, that'll be a big swing for Jake's team. It'll kind of sure up a very strong receiving core to go with his pretty stable rest of his lineup, and I think that that would definitely be a huge swing in Jake's favor for the rest of the year. And going in for player has been at number 5 for almost the past, like, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks. And has kind of been, very consistent so far this season. Is Wicked Pisses, yeah. And the one area of her team that really hasn't been too consistent, apart from kind of the injuries and buys at a running back, has clearly been her wide receivers. That's kind of been the weakest part of her team, where she definitely has some talent, but it's very hard to kind of figure out who's going to perform each week. They definitely have been a bit on and off. But I think that the one player that's kind of the swing player for her team is the guy who's not actually playing this week because he's on bye, and that would be Justin Jefferson. Okay, Justin Jefferson is a rookie phenomenon. He lit up last week with over 30 points. He had 27 points week 3. The 2 weeks between he had 12 and 4. Okay, and we got to see if Justin Jefferson can be, and he had very good matchups in all those weeks. If Justin Jefferson can be the type of guy to kind of maintain this type of pace, that will kind of fix the biggest issue on, like, the weakness on Lindsay's team, which I see as her flex dash wide receiver 2. That'll fix up kind of her receiving core, make it very strong with him and Allen Robinson if they can both kind of be performing at this top level, and then full game at flex because he's a beast too. But I think that Justin Jefferson has a lot of potential. He's on an offense. He can take that Diggs role, and if he's able to kind of make the most of his opportunities, that'll be a big swing for Lindsay's favor for the rest of the year. Okay. And at number 4, we have kind of Ben's General Hospital, I would call the team. He calls it the Paraplegics, and I think that that's a fair name as well. It's a team of very hurt individuals. And, oh no, he changed it to Ben's General Hospital. Yeah, great job, Ben. And I think that the really swing player on his team is really honestly just any of them getting healthy. But if we have to go with a single one, I think that we gotta probably actually go with Henry Ruggs. At least, not really out for the season. Probably Antonio Gibson, actually. Antonio Gibson has been kind of, I would say, underperforming overall. He's had a couple touchdowns that saved a few weeks, but for his opportunities, he's been doing okay, but he hasn't been doing too great, and McKissick's been kind of taking more and more work, which is the opposite of what we were expecting over the season. I was expecting at least Antonio Gibson to get more and more touches as the season went on, and I think that it really, this guy is honestly very important to Ben right now because all his players are hurt. But even in the future, I think he's some guy you'd want to have at your flex position if he can actually live up his potential. But I'm not really sure if he's really kind of going to be able to do that just due to kind of the way he's being utilized and the way he's making use of his opportunities right now in the Washington offense. So it really, yeah, if Antonio Gibson can kind of make more of get more work and kind of produce more on those touches, he can be a huge guy with a ton of receptions, a ton of yards for still a bad offense. But he would definitely make a big difference for Ben's team for now and for even actually after his players got healthy. So that is a very important swing player for Ben's General Hospital, who is at number 4. And at number 3, we have your boy, the only standard fantasy friend this week. We got my Chubbers for 4 weeks right here. And for my swing player, I would have to say that my swing player is probably going to be DK Metcalf. I know he's been performing insanely well the first couple weeks, but the thing is, it's more about just can he maintain this pace of being kind of such a great. Actually, no, it's AJ Brown. Same reason. I know he's been doing really well, but it's about him being able to kind of maintain this pace throughout the season. The Tennessee offense has been on a tear, and if that keeps up, I have no doubt he'll be doing well. But I just want to see him kind of, last year AJ Brown's biggest issue was kind of that some weeks he wouldn't be needed in the offense, and kind of can he be a necessary and kind of utilized component every single week, getting touchdowns and kind of putting up points. And if he can do that, that would be a big swing for my team, as he is an explosive, insanely talented wide receiver who can kind of just make any play a touchdown. And so just getting those opportunities and kind of making the most of them, that would be a huge swing for my team over the course of the year. It would make my wide receiving core just insane. And I really hope he does that at least. Now, at number 2, we actually have our other fantasy friend, who is not with us in the room right now, but he's working hard, and he actually, even though it's just me, I just want to also say, this is our consensus rankings. He sent them in. And yeah, so it's not my fault we ranked this low. It was probably him. So be mad at him. But he is at number 2 right now in our rankings, and his swing player, I will say, is probably going to be, I would say Matt Stafford, but I don't think he's going to play him all year. So I'm going to go with actually James Robinson. This guy's been a swing player for his team the whole year, actually, really, because he's been swinging this team very positive. He's probably one of the reasons that Jake's record is so good right now. But he has kind of struggled a little. He's done fine, but he hasn't kind of kept up just as insane a pace as he put up in the first couple weeks. The past few, he really didn't do too much in week 5, and then he got saved by a reception touchdown against Detroit, which I mean is fine, but it's not really as reliable as you'd hope for a guy like James Robinson, who's been getting so many carries and kind of putting up a decent production for the first couple weeks. And I kind of think that this is the point where you could see possibly there's a scary thought of James Robinson tailing off a little. But also, there's a chance that James Robinson just goes back to being just as good as he was before. And that is the swing for his team. And if James Robinson can do well, his team will be very good. James Robinson doesn't, probably not as good. Maybe if Kenyon Drake can do as well, too. But that's another pretty good swing player, but not the one we chose. So, we ain't talking about him. And at number 1 for the second week in a row, we have multiple scoregasms. That is right, Michael. Didn't actually win last week, but you know what? We kept you at number 1 because you had a lot of buys first off. And also just because your roster is still insanely talented, especially one of your main swing players, which would be Kareem Hunt. Yep. Kareem Hunt, there's a lot of different issues different variables going on. He really had his first, I guess I would say, less productive week against a great Steelers defense. I'm not sure that that's really too big an issue, but it is kind of something where you want to see him swing back. And then also as Chubb comes back in, Chubb's going to come back. He's going to probably be starting. And when Chubb actually played with Kareem Hunt the first couple of weeks, Hunt was able to perform very well. And I want to see if when Chubb comes back, Hunt can kind of still make the most of his kind of opportunities that he shares with Chubb and kind of still score, still be productive in the way he was at the first couple of weeks when Chubb was there. And that, I think, is going to be a big swing one way or another for Michael, depending on how Hunt adjusts to Chubb returning to the lineup. I think it'll probably be a positive swing, but it's certainly a swing you want to keep your eyes on. And that's it right now for our power rankings and our swing players for Week 7. All right, now on to matchups. And again, it's kind of a unique podcast. It's just kind of me spouting off real fast to the viewers here, but you know how it always is. Where the past 2 weeks, I'd like to have a bit of a special guest for our weekly fantasy matchup predictions. And actually, this week, our special guest will not be delivering their own predictions. They will be giving. Jake sent in his matchup predictions. Obviously, he's not here to give them. So, for our excellent guest, we have my pet rock, Doug. Hey guys, it's me, Doug. And Doug's going to be kind of delivering Jake's matchup predictions on the week. Okay, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Even though Jake's predictions suck, you shouldn't listen to him, except for the ones he agrees with Larry on. Yep, that's right, Doug. That is right. And I hope you guys all appreciate me talking to my pet rock as I give matchup predictions. So, for our first matchup of the week, we have me and Jake Younger going at it. We already saw Carson Wentz do well, and that is really a big reason why I'm picking Too Many Cooks in Hill's Kitchens over me. I know Doug is too. Well, I'm not really, but Jake is, and I'm delivering the pick for Jake. I see a big thing in this matchup being Jonnu Smith coming back and being healthy. Yeah, I think that Jonnu Smith coming back is probably going to be a very big thing for Jake. And we all seen how good Jonnu is, and I think that if Jonnu can do well, that's really going to be what is going to kind of kill my chances at coming back against Carson Wentz and his epic performance. All right, and so me and Jake both have the other Jake against me. Our second matchup actually pertains to our missing fantasy friend and Benjamin Salfer, and as we have the Deflators bit squaring off against Ben's General Hospital. And I think that the key thing for me is that I picked Jake Wilder to take this matchup. Jake Wilder also did. Big surprise. Okay, so me and Jake are both picking Jake to beat Ben, and I think that the reason why is because Ben's team is all hurt. Yep, and that's kind of it. Ben's team's all hurt, and Devonta Freeman also got hurt, which kind of hurt Ben's team more. And Ben, for some reason, thought it'd be a smart idea to start the Giants defense. Why would you do that, Ben? I mean, I guess they're okay against the football team, but he was playing against the GOAT, Carson Wentz, so it was not going to turn out well. All right. And for the next matchup, we have, of course, Obi-Wan Mahomey facing off against Bill DeWaller. A matchup of actually the two people tied at 9th place right now in our power rankings. And right now, it looks like we both have chosen Obi-Wan Mahomey to take this matchup. Why is that? Possibly because of Boston Scott's great performance, but I think Slayton kind of balanced that out. I didn't kind of hurting Abby's team a bit by putting up 3.3 points, the only game where she really started him. But I think that the big thing this week is going to be Devontae Adams playing against the Houston defense. That's right. And the Houston defense has not been something to be scared of, and I think Devontae Adams kind of underperformed last week. I think this is the week he bounces back, and that's going to really seal the win for Abby. All right, and then for our next matchup prediction, we have the 1972 Miami Dolphins against Juju Knows What's Up, and we have both chosen Ted. That is right. And I think that the big reason why for this one is probably because I don't believe. Well, I'm going to have to see it to believe Juju kind of getting back to Juju. He's been doing really bad this week. So, yep, Juju's not been very good. And I think that that's really going to be what is kind of going to lose the game for Abby unless Juju can kind of turn it around. Next, we have Michael with multiple scoregasms against Jack off with Jack, obviously. And I picked Michael, and Jake picked Michael as well. And with that, I think that the reason is, first off, Jack does not have a running back in his lineup right now. And usually you kind of need to have players in your lineup to win. And aside from that, Michael's team is just all off the bye. They're all healthy, and his team was number 1 in the power rankings. So when that's the case, not many teams out there that we're going to pick over. And in our last matchup of the week, we have, and the only matchup actually me and Jake disagree on is Lindsay with the Wicked Pisses versus Samuel Fontaine with mixing CEH and THC. Now, I have chosen Sam Fontaine, and I really did this because I like the Buccaneers defense. I know having picked specifically about defense are kind of unique, but it's also because I think that they're going to do well against the Raiders, and I think that's also going to hurt Lindsay because she's playing Josh Jacobs. I think the offensive line kind of being out for the Raiders this week is going to hurt them, and I'm not sure that Josh Jacobs is really going to be able to make up for that. All right, and I'm pretty sure that Jake chose Lindsay because Josh Allen is playing against the New York Jets, and the Jets suck. Yep, that's probably right, Doug. I could totally see Josh Allen going off and kind of helping Lindsay get the win, but I'm just thinking that it might be too tough to come back from if the Tampa Bay defense has a very strong performance this week. And that is our matchup predictions for the week. Thank you, Doug, Pet Rock, for kind of helping out with that, being our Eggland excellent guest. Maybe we'll see you a little in the future. Probably not. You were kind of annoying, honestly. All right, and then finally, we have the cash segment of our show where we give you the DraftKings winning lines of the week. Winning lines of the week. That is right. And again, Jake is not here, but he was able to send in his lines, and I'll just kind of give you both me and Jake's lines for both underdog, overdog, and lock. Last week, Jake was only able to get 1 point. He only got the point for I forget who he picked, but he picked one winning matchup, which is good enough. And I actually swept my locks last week, which put me up. I was down by 1, and finally I'm back in my rightful place at being leading in the winning lines of the week with 17 points versus Jake's 15. And now let's get into our picks. For our underdog, Jake has chosen the Carolina Panthers. I really like this pick because the Saints, much like Ben's team, have lost many wide receivers. And not having Michael Thomas and also not having Emmanuel Sanders has got to hurt their offense a bit. And along with having a plus 6.5 line and the Carolina team being actually very good this year, well, surprisingly good. I wouldn't say very good, but good enough where I would take the 6.5 points in this matchup against kind of an injured New Orleans. And for my underdog, I chose the Chicago Bears because, they're a very good team, and they're given 6 points. Usually when any good team is given 6 points, you choose that very good team. Along with the fact they're playing against the Rams. I'm not as big a fan of the Rams as I think most people are. They've only won so far against the NFC East. And, we all kind of know what the NFC East is this year. So I want to see what the Rams, actually can do against a good team before I take anyone before I actually give them enough credit to not take a team against them for 6 points, let alone a team that is 5-1 on the year so far. Okay, don't sleep on the Bears and take them plus 6. That's a great line right there. Oh wait, no, that's actually my lock. 1 second, I'm gonna have to. Wait, no, it's not my lock. Okay. And then for my overdog of the week, for Jake's overdog of the week, he has chosen yet again Seattle. Seattle's playing against Arizona, and they're favored by 3.5 points. Okay, that's not too much, and I think just Seattle being undefeated, a very strong team, I think that Jake feels that this line is just not a very accurate representation of how good they are, and I'd say that that's kind of fair. I'm not sure I would take this line. I think it's pretty fair either way. And then for my overdog, I have chosen the Green Bay Packers at -3 against the Houston Texans. Listen, Houston has been looking better, but they are. the Packers by a field goal against a team that's still not very good. I will take the Packers, especially after they got pissed off after a loss to the Bucs. The Packers are still a very good team, and they're going to show it this week when they beat the Houston Texans by more than 3 points. I think that that line's just too small, where I will have to take the Packers -3 as my overdog. And then for the lock of the week, Jake has chosen the Kansas City Chiefs -7 against the Denver Broncos. I think that this one, I mean, we all kind of get the reasoning here. Kansas City's a very good team, Super Bowl champs, being favored by 1 touchdown against the Broncos team that's kind of been so-so on the year. I'm not sure how much I love this line, but I think it's totally fair to take this, especially after the line's just right now within a touchdown. For my lock, I have chosen Buffalo at -10, even more than the Kansas City Chiefs at -7 against the New York Jets. Yep, that is right. Any team, I don't think the Jets have lost to a team by less. Actually, they've only lost one time this year by less than 10 points. I think they might not have even lost. And Buffalo's a pretty decent team. It's mostly just the Jets are bad. They lose by a lot of points, and Buffalo's good enough where they will just win by more than 10. It's that easy. Bet against the Jets. Okay, and that is our show for the week. It was been pretty quick, and I hope you enjoyed it.